Bernardo spent the last 3 weeks talking about repotting yourself, so you're trimmed and you've got new soil and everything's good to go. But today I'd like to talk about living a fun versus a fear-based life. Fun, almost a word we don't hear anymore, isn't it? So how do we know we become a fear-based society? Well, there's one statistic: 64% of Americans are overweight. We're consuming, but we're not feeling satisfied, right? What's another one? I have a friend at Walgreens, and he said more laxatives are being sold today than any other time in history. Now, I Googled constipation, and I know, why would you do that? But the U.S., over Canada, Australia, and Europe, uses more laxatives than anyone else. Now, why is that? What's going on? Are we feeling stuck? What's going on here? So fear-based versus fun. How many of you know where you're at right now? What are you feeling in your life? You want fun, right? We want some fun. You know, we're only born with two fears: the fear of falling and the fear of loud noises. And all other fears are acquired over our lifetime. When you think of work, you want to fit in. You have the fear of not fitting in. You want to do a good job. You want to connect with people. You want to earn a good living, right? And in your personal life, you want to connect with your spouse or your significant other. You want to be vulnerable and sensitive and share who you really are. So what happens? We have to relearn to have fun and move past the fear. When I started in the insurance business, I was 26, I'd just gotten a divorce, I had an 18-month-old son to support, and there was a lot of fear. Fear of survival, fear of taking care of my son. And I joined the Life Underwriters Association. It's an association for insurance people, and I went to my first luncheon, and I was so excited. You know, I was going to be out there with other people, you know, and I was standing in line, and someone tapped my shoulder, and I turned around and looked down, and this man goes, "I don't think women should be in the insurance business." And I said, "Well, neither should short little fat men." So what happens? You know, that kind of thing happens, and you get that G.I. Jane kind of personality. You start to wear it like a second set of skin, that no one's going to see my vulnerable side, and no one's going to put me down. I'm going to make it. So we go through life with that toughness. Tracy Goss wrote a book called The Last Word on Power, and it was about winning strategies. A strategy that you develop over your lifetime, and then you take it on as who you are. And behind that winning strategy, we have what's called a core imprint, something we carry through our life that we kind of want to hide from people. We don't want them to see that part of us. And my winning strategy through my lifetime was to be the best in sales. And so I worked very hard to be number one in sales. And then people wouldn't see my core imprint. That core imprint being maybe that I felt inherently flawed or unlovable. And so we put that where people can't see it. So you move through life, and I ended up being recruited to work in the fourth largest bank and financial institution in the country. I was brought in to be a master coach to train presidents to become a sales culture. The banks at that point were just order takers. And so for 2 years we did coaching, and we taught bankers. Now you want to talk about fear. Thinking you're a banker and turning into a salesperson. There's fear. And so we had to move them through that process, and I did that for 2 years. And then they brought me in to run the insurance and executive benefits department. And there were 29 of us strategically located throughout the country. And of course, I was in Albuquerque. the least profitable part of the whole world, you know, and here I am, and I have my winning strategy, right? To make it happen, to be a success, to always be number one. So of the 29, I was the number one salesperson for 6 years in a row in the country. Go ahead, go ahead. Hey, it wasn't easy. So what happens, though, over that period of time when you're focused and you're driven and the joy starts to leave your life, you forget how to have fun. And that's what happened to me. So I'll tell you about the day I broke free. I was working in the bank. It was just like any other day, little overcast, and I went downstairs to get some soup. And a little scooter went by the street, and I was like, you know, I can remember when I was in my 20s, that was the most fun I ever had. So I went back upstairs, and I'd forgotten a spoon. I went into the kitchen to get a spoon, and I walked over to this table, and lying on the table was a paper, and it was open. There was this ad, and it was a block ad, and it said, motorcycle for sale. I wasn't even there. I mean, some piece of me walked over and picked it up. And I went to my desk and I called. And they said, you could see it today. And I grabbed my assistant and we got in the car and I went and I saw this motorcycle. And I said, I'll take it. Okay, so it's only been 35 years since I've been on a motorcycle, and they're delivering it that Saturday. Now, my boyfriend didn't know I bought a motorcycle. And I was having some fear about sharing that information with him. So Saturday's getting pretty close, and I still haven't let him know that, you know, I have a little surprise for you. So the owners bring the motorcycle. And I thought I should act like I knew what I was doing. I said, well, what's the RPMs? Went over and kicked the tire, you know, and I said, I think I ought to take it for a spin before I actually give you the check, you know. So I got on the motorcycle and went around the neighborhood and came back in and got to the garage, and I forgot that when you're in first gear, you don't let go of the clutch. And the bike just flipped over and landed on top of me. My boyfriend was against the wall like this. And the owner rushed over, and they weren't worried about me. No. The motorcycle. They picked up the motorcycle, and they said, are you going to buy it? And I go, yes, I am. And hello, fun. Meet motorcycle. I turned on my fun meter. Do you have a fun meter? I got so excited about having this motorcycle because it brought back that feeling of aliveness and excitement and adventure and danger and thrill that had been lost. That lust for life that we lose, that we crave, that we really want. Well, my boyfriend and I broke up. And I was pretty sad. It was a 10-year relationship, and I was sitting in my bedroom one morning and just afterwards, and I was feeling pretty bad. And I was looking around the room, and I saw a plant that I had had for a very, very long time. I had a pink pot, just to give you an idea of how old that plant was. And it had yellow leaves, and the branches were all twisted. And I looked at that pot, maybe for the first time in a long, long time. And I went, that plant looks like I feel. I'm ready to be bigger. Because in a corporation, they tell you two things: fit in and make sales. And so part of you gets diminished and loses a piece of yourself. Well, I was pretty excited. You know, I decided, that's how I got the name of the book, Repotting Yourself. And I was excited, and I thought, I'm going to call my mom in Indiana. Mom, I'm going to write a book. She says, you're going to write a book? You